What's good, my people? Welcome into Buckets, Action Network's daily NBA betting podcast. We're in the workshop. This is the Thursday edition of Buckets. We have one game on the slate. We're going to break down this Boston Celtics Atlanta Hawk game 6 matchup right now. Boston -6, -5.5, depending on where you're looking. Overall total at 231.5. Shout out our guys over at FanDuel Sportsbook who hold us down always. You know how we do it. We give out our best bets, we break it down, and we get out of here. J Money is money. What are you looking at for game 6? Celtics, Hawks.
Yeah, so I'll take Celtics in the first half -3. It's nothing huge for me. It's a little small play, but I will take Celtics in the first half -3.
BA.
We are in lockstep. Give me Celtics first half. Give me also not a huge bet here. I am sick of this series. I've been burned by the Celtics all year. We'll talk it through, but give me the Celtics first half.
I'm going to take the Celtics team total over 119.5. It is a smaller play for me, but I think they're going to have to show up in this spot. All right, let's jump into it. J Money is money. No trifecta spot, just the first half spot. Why do you like the Celtics here?
Well, they should cover the trifecta spot. I mean, it's pretty simple. If the Celtics come out locked and loaded, they can come out here and build a double-digit lead and not look back. They're 4-1 against the spread in the first halves in this series. The only one they didn't cover was in Atlanta, Game 3, where it was the absolute desperation spot for the Hawks in that one. And the Celtics still came out and covered the first quarter in that one. So as long as they come out with the mindset that they want this to be the last game of the series, it will be. It probably will be a trifecta smack city spot, but I feel most comfortable going with the first half -3 in this one. We know that they kind of gave away the game in yesterday's game, whatever. But I expect the Celtics to come out here locked and loaded. They know that they need to get to that Sixers series as soon as possible, right? Because Joel Embiid is just getting more rest, right? So I'm sure they expected to win yesterday, but I definitely expect them to win on Thursday. Give me Celtics in the first half -3. I think they'll make it 5-1 ATS in the first half in this series.
Before we get to VAJ, talk to me about what happened. Is it just Trae Young exploded? Did Boston just not take those guys seriously and implode coming down the stretch? Similarly to what Milwaukee did playing the Heat, they easily could have tucked those guys away. It kind of slipped. What would you, I guess, say is the cause for Boston letting that game give away? Did Trae just take it from them late?
Yeah, I think he took it from him. You get a little bit of complacency that sets in there as well. Okay, we're up 3-1. You're already starting to look towards next series. I'll say it. These guys in the NBA's these days are just not the same, right? They're a little bit softer mindsets. They get to looking ahead to next, like finish out the game first, right? If you have that mindset, there's no way that happened. You could double team them, triple team them, whatever. Make the rest of the team beat you. So yeah, just let them come down chunking up threes. Personally, I would have double teamed him as soon as he crossed half court. So I think it's a little bit of both complacency, and Trae Young just went off on him. I mean, you're hitting threes like that, deep threes, it's kind of tough to kind of stop that. But you have to, if you see a guy going off, double team him as soon as he crosses over half court. They were probably already looking to the 76er series, thought the game was going to be easy. Then what do you know? It's a close game. Last few minutes, Trae Young's hit that shot, they lose it. So I think the Celtics are still in great shape, but complacency definitely set in.
BA, talk to me about the first half. I'm sure you have similar thoughts to Jay. That collapse the other night, it was how we talk about the Lakers on an up and down and they just kind of show up lollygag sometimes. That's exactly what the Boston Celtics do at times as well. Talk to me about the first half.
Yeah, I agree exactly what Jay's been saying. Basically everything here. I agree that Boston, I think, just took Atlanta lightly. I think they thought they had this. They did have it. They were up like 8-12 basically for the entire game, and then they just didn't anymore. They have scored efficiently the whole series when they need to. I mean, in that game that they just lost, they made 69% of their 2-pointers. They just couldn't get any offense at the end. I do have to take away big picture. Here we are with Celtics endgame again, and we've seen this now. We saw them nearly blow a finals trip last year to Miami in that game 7. It's not nothing. This is not a nothing takeaway. In this series, I think it's more of a nothing takeaway. Boston didn't even really ramp up the minutes for their guys like Tatum, Brown. They're playing like regular season game type minutes in that one. I think Boston just thought they had it, and then the NBA happens. Is that a commercial? Did I just make a commercial there? But Trey made shots. Credit where it's due. Trey showed up 38 and 13. I did not expect Trey to have that game. I did not expect the Hawks to show up. But here's the numbers. First quarter for the series, Celtics 4-1, plus 24 on the series. Second quarter, Celtics 4-1, plus 31 on the series. So for the half, Boston has won 4 of the 5 halves. They're plus 55 in the first half. They've won half by 8, 12, 12, and then, of course, 30 in game 1. So I'm not going to go crazy here. Normally, this would be a spot where I'd take an alternate half. I'd take an alternate full game. I'd say, get out of here, clean the floor, get on with things. And I do think that's most likely to happen, but I am sick of losing money to the stupid Hawks and the Celtics. I'm not taking them seriously, but I don't think Boston is either. So I'm just going to get the first half. And I do think that they take care of business, but I'm not going to get too crazy with it.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking at the team total here, 119.5 over at FanDuel. They 100,000% are not taking the Hawks seriously. And it didn't help when DeJounte Murray went down as well. If you go all the way back 10 days ago to game 1, they absolutely blew the doors off the Atlanta Hawks in the first half, scored 76 points. Then they go on, they win the game 112-99. They score 20 points in the third quarter, 18 points in the fourth. They absolutely just take their foot off the gas, flat out, because they don't respect the Hawks. They just thought these guys aren't in our league. Here, we'll hang 70 plus on them in the first half and then completely skate in the rest of the game. They did that in game 1, and I didn't like it then. Just there's a certain thing about really good teams in the NBA that they have this absolute killer instinct. They just don't care if they want to beat you by 30. When they're up 30, they want to beat you by 35. When they're up 40, they have they just want to run you out the building. Now, Boston has trouble with that. Jason Tatum just has these games where I don't know if he's not in. I mean, it's similarly to Anthony Davis. We know what Tatum can do when he gets going, but I'm looking at the team total here purely on the fact that they have to show up in this spot. They're going to catch flack all over the media the next couple of days. In this series in Atlanta, they in the loss, they gave up 130, but they scored 122. In the W, they scored 129. And then in a few of the losses, it was 117, and then they scored 119 in a win at home. I think this is a big show-up spot where they hang a massive number similar to what they did in the first half, but they keep it rolling here and keep their foot on the gas. So I'll take the team total over the Atlanta Hawks with DeJounte Murray now coming back at home. It's an interesting spot because they do have life now. You saw Bogdanovich on the bench when Tatum put that shot up with 0.8 seconds left. He kind of gave the little pump, tapped the guys on the bench like, yeah, let's get back to Atlanta and see what we can do. Derek White needs to be on the floor to close the game. He's their absolute third best playmaker, especially when Tatum is not rolling. He really needs to be on the floor because Jalen had a bad turnover late. It's just another option for those guys to go to. I would also like to see Grant Williams get a few minutes. I'm not really too sure what's going on with that, but there could be layers to that. I think the Boston Celtics show up big, knockout spot, hang 120 plus on Atlanta, and then get ready to see Philly, because it's clear the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics flat out didn't care and thought they would just roll over Atlanta and Miami, and that's just not the case. Giannis, I believe, should have tried to at least go in game 3. He didn't. That was an issue. So there's a lot of different things going on there, but Boston shows up big in this spot. I want to get your guys' opinion on this because I've been reluctant to say it publicly. I've been kind of going back and forth, talking to the homies in the group chats and all that. I just believe right now, today, Jaylen Brown's a better overall basketball player than Jason Tatum. I think that's just a fact for me now. Day in, day out, year in, year out, series out, that I've watched how he plays ball in big spots and on-ball defense is I believe, right there, if not better than Jason Tatum's. I like Jaylen Brown overall. I think he's a better hooper. BA, what do you think about that comment?
I can't get there. I'm big on my Vorps and Schwarps, and the advanced metrics are very heavily in Tatum's favor versus Brown's. Like, almost too heavily in a way that makes me be like, what am I missing? Because they really are not high usually on Jaylen Brown. A lot of BPM and VORP and EPM, all of those. But just beyond that, I think Tatum, I think, is the better defender, and I think team defender, especially. I think Jaylen Brown can look the part, but often we think of defense as on-ball defense, but there's a lot more happening there. And I think Tatum is a more versatile defender and is a little better elevating the team defense. Tatum can do more initiating of the offense also. I think like,
but wait, BA, isn't the more initiating just because he is the 1A and he gets to initiate all day long? Jaylen just doesn't get that option. And the only time Jaylen does get to initiate is when Tatum doesn't show up. And Jaylen's like, I guess I gotta initiate and score because Tatum doesn't have it going.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. But what I was going to say is I think we would almost need to see, not that I'm wishing this right now, but we'd almost need to see like, okay, Tatum got hurt for a month and now Jaylen had to do that in the regular season, what it looked like. And my fear is this. I think Jaylen can initiate his offense as well as Tatum does. I think he can get to his shot. However, he's had a lot of turnover problems. I keep calling him vase hand. That's a new thing right now, but turnovers last playoff was a thing also. Jaylen Brown turnovers over was just a thing we kept going to over and over. That's an issue for him. And that's as a secondary creator or really even a tertiary creator because he's not running point and he's not Tatum there. So more handling means more mistakes. And Tatum has shown the assist numbers. I don't think we've really ever seen that from Brown consistently hitting good assist numbers. Tatum hasn't had that this series. Honestly, I think this series Tatum has not been good. I think this series Jaylen Brown has been better. But to me, I think the thing
often. We say that all the time. I feel like though, Jaylen Brown's having a better series here. Tatum. Jaylen Brown here looks a little better than Jason Tatum, and I see it far too often in massive spots, and no one wants to say it out loud, and I'm just there to the point where I think Jaylen Brown is just a better overall hooper, and he's doing it as being the second fiddle.
The only thing I would say. I think the analogy here, and I'll be careful because one of the parts, the analogy doesn't quite work. I think this is Jaylen Brown as Chris Middleton. And I think Tatum is not Giannis. Let's be very clear. That's the analogy part that's broken. Giannis is 1,000 miles better. But I think that Jaylen Brown plays I can be the closer role. I can hit the bucket. Like the things that Chris Middleton does that we see. If it's the last 5 minutes and it's a close game, oh man, you got to have Chris out there. Like if you don't, the Bucks are in trouble. You need both of them. But I think this is the Chris Middleton. This is the Scottie Pippen. If we're going to really elevate what these two guys are, I think Jaylen Brown is successful at the things he is because he's the number two and Tatum is doing a lot more. But
that's a good point.
We are saying this more than we should be.
J Money.
That's a great point because what Brandon is saying is that Tatum gets most of the double teams. He gets most of the attention, right? So Jaylen Brown has a little bit more of he can spread his wings a little bit more. So I'll tell you this, Sean, Tatum is still 1A, but Jaylen Brown sometimes looks more consistent. That's why I think like when in big games and Tatum has a bad game, it's like, okay, this is why we don't like Tatum, right? But Brown is more the consistent player, but BA is right when it comes to the turnovers. Jaylen Brown can have some dumb turnovers, and he doesn't always hustle back after those turnovers well. But I'll tell you this, I think we're going to see pretty soon because even though Jaylen Brown's doing all this talk of that it's nice we stand together, I think Jaylen Brown is kind of trying to show out in the playoffs because I think he wants to go to another team. He wants to be the 1A. So I think we're going to see very soon who's the better overall player. We're going to see if Jaylen Brown can really be the leader of a team because he wants to be the guy on the team. I don't think he cares where it is, even if it's on a bad team. He wants to be the guy, and that's when we're really going to see if Jaylen Brown has it when he's getting all the double teams, when he has the main focus of a defense, and can he be that real leader on a team as well? Personally, I think both of them are a little bit too soft-spoken to be a leader, so that's why I think they are better off together, and they do, even with those two together on a team, they still need that leader of a coach like a Udoka. I'm not sure if Mazzulla's that guy, but we're really going to see when Brown leaves, we're really going to see what both of them are made of when they're 1A on each on their own respective team.
Yeah, and just so I'm clear, I'm not saying that Jaylen Brown's head and shoulders better than Tatum. I think it's very, very close, but we're talking way too much in big games, close out NBA playoff series games where we're looking for Jaylen Brown to do what needs to be done because Tatum is nowhere to be found. It's happening far too often. And it's almost as if I trust Jaylen Brown more in these big spots.
Yeah, well, I think then to think big picture, then how do we bet this? This is a thing that I thought coming into the playoffs. I had the Celtics as my title pick. I would have them as my title pick right now. They're the title favorites. This loss was damaging. This loss does not hurt them in the series per se. It could. We're not giving the Hawks much credit, but you win a home game, and who knows what happens in Game 7 is a real thing that could happen. But at the very least, we lost 3 days of Embiid rest that Boston did not get to take advantage of here. It's one extra game. It's extra attrition. Maybe that Sixers series goes an extra game now, and now you're not as rested for a Bucks team. This stuff all adds up.
Yeah.
But big picture, though, if we're not high on Jason Tatum, back to the Tatum and Brown thing, whoever is 1A, 1B, 1 and 2, whatever it is, if the Celtics win a championship, Jason Tatum would be, where does he stack on LeBron is the best player on a title team, Kawhi Leonard, best player on a title team, Giannis, Durant, Steph. I don't think Tatum has managed to stack up to those guys. That's not a diss to Jason Tatum. Those are all-time great players. But looking back through history, the Celtics don't match a profile of a title team. In the NBA, you win the title when you have the elite superstar, top 5, top 3, top 1 player in the league. And can the Celtics do that if Jason Tatum he has to at least be in the conversation, I think. If he's the level you're saying, Sean, if he is closer to Jaylen Brown, which I think really we're agreeing on how valuable Jaylen Brown is. I think you're saying maybe Tatum is a little elevated too much. If he's not, can they actually win the title? Because other than like the 04 Pistons, maybe the Dirk Navs, maybe the Kobe Lakers back in a lower point during the NBA talent-wise, there are not a lot of champions that look like a team like this if they really don't have that top elevate of a superstar.
Yeah, no question. I mean, they're deep enough. They have enough guys that you would think that it should be able to get done. But yeah, the guys that win the championship are typically have that super alpha MVP in the trophy case type guy. So we'll see. Any other comments, Jay, before we get out of here?
No real comments. Just if the Celtics do win the title, I do think that it'll be because of Tatum, and I think he'll get Finals MVP.
To recap, J Money is on the first half. Boston Celtics -3, right around that number, and so is BA. Brandon Anderson is also on the Celtics first half. I am on the team total Celtics over 119.5. Try to get the best number. Always do that. That's going to do it for this episode of Buckets a little Celtics Hawks specialized Game 6 preview. Until next time, always remember, get buckets, baby.